can AI really rebuild a car? I guess we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't give me like a 5-page essay of stuff I have to do. I'm gonna be honest, if this is the future, I don't know if I'm liking it. Today, we're going to finish rebuilding my Corvette Z06. In case you missed the last video, we completely painted every single panel on this car. But that means that every single panel on this car is held on with literally hopes and dreams. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. Actually, on second thought, I'm Gen Z, and there's no way I could possibly figure this out by myself. So, just like every other person my age and every person in college, I'm going to use AI to figure this out. This is going to be really hard work. Probably. No? Then why did I buy it? All right, enough fun and games. I took a picture of every single corner of the Corvette, and I'm going to upload it to the newest version of Chat GPT. And yes, I did buy premium just for this. And since AI is clearly so much smarter than all of us combined, I'm just going to blindly follow every single step that they tell me, even if they don't make sense. Step 26 is actually really important. We're going to loosen upper, we're going to jam, and then we're front lower fender bolts slightly. But I guess let's see how far AI can really get. So I'm going to put it on thinking mode, which makes it think longer and give better responses. So hopefully it has the best chance possible to give me a good answer. And hopefully we can actually finish the project using AI. It's taking a long time. Hopefully it doesn't give me like a 5-page essay of stuff I have to do. Okay. Phase 0, I uploaded photos from my iPhone, so it's in the wrong file format, so I have to convert them to JPEG so it can actually see the photos. All right, let's try that again. It's still taking a long time. But based off of what the other one was saying, I think this actually might work. Oh, look at that, it's trying to compliment me to get on my good side. I know what you're up to. Even though you're going to end humanity, I appreciate it, thank you. So now that we got this list, I'm going to print it out on sheets of paper, tape it to my rear window, and we're going to see how much longer this list is than my original list, and let's get to work. Oh, it's still writing. All right, I officially got my list right here, and if you look back here, that is the list that I wrote by myself. Shoot. So this is the list that Chat GPT thought was the most efficient list that they could send me. Yeah, just saying, I didn't tell it to do this. I literally just said, print me out a list of what needs to be done. And 66 pages later, we got our list. Okay, quick interruption, and no, this is not a sponsorship. If we're going to be here for the next 66 steps, and if we just spend 1 minute on each step, we are going to be here for the next hour. I don't want to do that, and you probably don't want to watch for that long either. So, I have a proposition. I'm going to go in detail for the first few steps, and then we're going to skip around to the more interesting steps. Interesting steps like when I make mistakes and I almost give myself a black eye, I just launched a wrench straight into my face. When Chat GPT makes mistakes and wastes a lot of time, I think I'm going to have to get off track again. And big milestones whenever a lot of progress is made. I think that's a success. Not to mention at the end of this video, we are going to do a full cost breakdown on this build. And to be honest, as of recording this, I still haven't crunched those numbers because genuinely, I don't want to know. They're a lot higher than I probably want them to be. How do I cope with this? Regardless, stay tuned if you want to see how much I spent on this car grand total, including absolutely everything. And I guess let's get back to listening to Chat GPT. Okay, so the first step says mask all edges, doors, fenders, hood, rockers, rear bumper corners, and fuel door opening. I'm not sure what that's gonna do. Why do I have a feeling that I'm about to waste a lot of money today? I think it's telling me to do this because it wants me to protect the paint, but little does Chat GPT know that I don't care if I ruin this paint. Oh, it didn't even say trunk. Shoot. Doors, fenders, rockers. Also, I did scrape this because this door is pushed out too far that way. So, thank you, Chat GPT, I'll do this. It should say that this is optional because I feel like this is only if you're not fully confident. But I guess if you're asking Chat GPT to help you, you're probably not fully confident. How am I supposed to mask this? There you go. Okay, I think that is step 1 complete. Everything is masked. Everything that I think it meant. I don't see a reason of masking this stuff when it's already bolted together. Step 2 is lay out hardware in labeled trays / bag, front bumper, headlights, fender liners, rockers, rear bumper lights, fuel doors, mirrors, and miscellaneous. Okay, I got all of my bolts laid out and organized, I guess. Step number 3, quick chassis check, make sure everything is tight, radiator core support, front crash bar, hood latch centered, and battery is tight. There are a couple issues with this step. My crash bar is welded on, so I think that's tight. I don't know if it realizes that Corvettes have 2 hood latches, one right here and one over there. So I don't know exactly how it wants me to center them, but sure, I'll count that complete. So basically all this step really means is I need to finish my radiator / core support, which honestly is not going to be easy because it's aftermarket and kind of janky. I guess I'll be right back once I figure this out. This is gonna take a minute. So while I'm painting this stuff and I'm waiting for this to dry, and the whole front end is in pieces, let's move on to the next step. Door to quarter gaps are even on both sides. I know this side is perfectly adjusted, but the passenger side is way off. The door is way too close this way, and it's way too far on this side, so the whole door needs to move that way. Okay. Door 5, adjust hinges if door sag is stuck or in or out. Please stop. That's also what we just did, so that one's complete. Doors should close easily without slamming, no scraping, or anything like that. That's what we were just doing. Step 7 says roof / hardtop and hatch fully latched and square. My roof is not adjustable, so I think that's good. So that means that step 7 is now done. We can move on to step 8. Step 8 says loosen hood hinges and center the hood to the fenders. I don't have fenders. Adjusting a hood to fenders that are not adjusted is like trying to get true north on a compass that's broken. It's borderline impossible, but I tried anyways because ChatGPT told me to. After doing that for about an hour, I got frustrated, of course, so I decided to go back and start working on the radiator support again. And after spending quite a bit of time on that as well, the welds broke almost immediately. And I still need to somehow attach bolts into these holes where there's nothing so that I could bolt this into there. So I think I need to get a riv nut gun so that I could put riv nuts in there. But we're going to have to worry about this later. I guess let's just keep on moving on like nothing ever happened. So what is the next step? Hood sits slightly high, adjust bump stops, and latch. It closes flush with normal force. Hey, that worked. So step 10 complete, step 11 complete. Do you mind? Anyways, step 12 of 66, gaps bumper to quarter even on both sides. That doesn't really make sense. Okay, quick little pause because ChatGPT, I don't think fully realizes that I'm missing my inner fenders, which are a lot easier to put in when the quarter panels are off. So before I go ahead and adjust these gaps, I don't see a point if I have to take them off to put the inner fenders in. And by the time I was finished setting up the car for the next step that ChatGPT wanted me to do, at 4:00 p.m. the sun is already setting, so we need to clean up, get all the stuff out of the way, and get it back in the shop. I'll see you guys in the morning tomorrow. So that means after one full day of following AI, we got 20% done with this project. To be honest, if I was doing it by myself, I probably would have got further, but that's not why we're here. We're here to answer the question of if AI can fix this car, not if it's more efficient or if it did it the right way. Let's get back to work. So where were we? Oh, this is so dumb. Oh yeah, that's where we were. We need to adjust the quarter panels. So I guess let's do that. I think I'm going to have to get off track again. So if they want me to get this bumper to quarter panel gap perfect, the bumper is not going to come off afterwards. And I haven't really looked at the steps ahead, but I'm assuming the next few steps I'm going to finish the bumper. All right, let me read out these steps because it's kind of backwards. It says, top of bumper should be level with the body line underneath the tail lights. What? Top of bumper level with body line under the tail lights. Sure, yeah. Tighten top bolts, then side wheel well screws, then lower screws. And then we're going to route and clip the rear harness. Make sure nothing is hanging near the exhaust. That's going to be way harder to do when the bumper's on. Why not route it right now? I don't know. We can add another mistake to the tally because that just makes absolutely no sense. So I need to figure out all the wiring behind this thing because it's a mess. Should be able to just... Okay. So I quickly figured out the wiring and I spent probably too much time trying to figure out if I could put a tow bar on this thing or not. It was officially time to start step 12 for like the 5th time. To be completely honest, it took me just about as much time to get ready to do step 12 as it took me to do the previous 11 steps combined. That's mainly because you have to do the rear brake ducts first, then the inner fenders, and then you can finally do step 12 where you align the quarter panel and the rear bumper and you make that gap perfect. That's as good as I can get it. It's definitely not perfect, but it's close enough. Step 12 is finally complete. All right, step 13, top of bumper needs to be level with the body line underneath the taillights. I don't know. I think that's automatically complete. Step 14 is officially complete. So step 15 complete. Step 16, install all 4 taillights and tighten evenly. Okay, let's do that. We're already halfway done with that though. Also, when I was driving it without any of the body panels, this one did drop and hit the ground and is cracked. So don't be surprised if I get different taillights in the near future. Let's go. Step 16, complete. Test running lights, brake lights, turn signals, and reverse lights. Looks good to me. I'll need someone else to check reverse because I can't really check it while being in reverse. I guess I'll test it for you guys. You guys can see if they work or not. I don't know if that worked or not. Hopefully it did. What does that even mean? Install hinge door, center, and opening. Install hinge door, what? Oh, okay. The next step after that says adjust the fuel door so it sits flush with the quarter panel. So I'm guessing that hinge door that they're talking about is a fuel door. All right, so I got my hinge door and it's time to install it. I don't really remember how this goes. That should be the fuel door complete. I thought that was the end of the list. Turns out the rest of the instructions are in here. Step 19, adjust the fuel door. We just did that. Confirm filler neck is seated and screws tight. Sure. What in the world are you talking about, my brother? Loosen rocker fasteners slightly. I don't know how I forgot this. We need to align rocker top edge straight from front fender to quarter. You know the rocker that's glued to the car? We need to adjust it. I think we can mark that as complete. Step 26 is actually really important. We're going to loosen upper, we're going to jam, and then we're front lower fender bolts slightly. What are you talking about? Once again, We've already done this. Tighten jam bolts first, then upper bolts. Okay, we can actually do this. They want us to tighten down the fender. I can actually do this now. I'm gonna be honest, these fenders are probably one of the most annoying fenders I have ever put on any car, period. There's bolts in here, bolts in there, bolts in there, bolts in here, bolts in there, 1,500 bolts up there. It is not fun. On to the third day of this project that should have taken a day. Got my chrome socket, which is definitely meant for impacts, ready to go. Check these out. For 2004, I'm actually really impressed. That's the size of my hand. These are big brakes. I never really noticed that. Once I was done admiring the size of my brakes, I went ahead and got back to work. And the next few steps flew by pretty quick because they were all along the lines of adjust this to that and make sure this gap is good in comparison to that. That's boring, so we're going to go ahead and skip past that until we're officially at the halfway point. Step 33 of 66. With a helper, place bumper on car. I have a helper, but I don't have anything to put the bumper on because there's this top bar that the bumper rests on. It was bent. I bought a new one 2 weeks ago, still hasn't shown up. So unfortunately for the time being, front bumper is not an option. So to make sure I don't forget about this one, I'm just gonna stick that like that. The next real step that we can actually do is step 45 out of 66. Install and plug in mirrors, verify that power adjustment works. Now, as you might have noticed, the inside of my mirrors were broken and cracked. And when I tried to use the mirrors, I didn't notice any movement of any kind. So I assumed that they were broken and I started to panic. So the battery was dead. That's why it wasn't working. Okay, so it's confirmed that these mirrors work. It's going to be a whole nother mission trying to find the glass that goes in here. I will figure that out off camera. Turns out one of the rarest parts on a Corvette is the glass with a plastic border. Both of my mirrors were ejected during the accident. Just saying, to buy the plastic with the mirror separately, just this right here, what you see, is over $100 typically per piece. I needed 2 pieces. So instead, I paid $180 and I bought 2 complete mirrors.
Do you have any more questions for him?
No questions. Okay. Thank you. That's more money than I was hoping, but my endless money pit continues to grow. I kind of made a mistake and I painted these mirrors even though I wasn't confident if they worked or not. So now with my creative methods, we have a new cover, we have the original wiring, we have a red housing, and we should have the correct mounting tabs for the glass. In case you're wondering how I got the glass out of the mirrors, it went a little something like this. Unlike the driver's side, when the passenger side was hit, it dislocated from the joint and yeah, it doesn't look too happy. So I'm going to try to figure that out. If I'm able to figure that out, I'm going to do my same DIY method of changing covers, and then we should have 2 functional mirrors. The passenger side mirror was way harder to put back together than I could have ever imagined. And that's because there's a big spring on the inside that stops the mirror from turning, but compresses whenever you do turn, so it has tension. That spring is so stiff that I had to use 2 pairs of pliers and zip ties to hold it together so that I could clip it back on. Actually, that's a lie. That didn't work. We tried putting zip ties on the spring, but the spring is so strong that it stretches the plastic. So with my dad's help, we devised a plan. The plan is metal doesn't stretch nearly as much as plastic, so we got this metal wire and we are going to compress that spring and wrap it in this wire, and if it gets a little bit stuck in there, so be it, as long as the mirror works. Once we were able to get it into place, that started a new issue. Now the spring is in there with metal wires jammed inside. So after spending a lot of time cutting, grinding, and pulling those wires out, the mirror was finally fixed. So we could put the glass in, which is not that easy. Ugh. Nope. Oh. Uh-oh. Okay, I didn't break anything. Ugh. Oh. Did that work? Uh-oh. So I gotta pull this thing off again. Ugh. I don't get it. Ugh. I think we're good. Step 45 is now complete. Step 46, verify outer door handles and locks are fully seated. Looks good to me. Install rear valence / diffuser. This car doesn't have a lower diffuser. Install cowl and wiper arms. Step 48 complete. Install emblems, badges, clean area. Once again, we're going to have to deviate off of the plan a little bit. I do have the badges and I could put them on right now, but I'm going to wet sand and buff all of the paint, and it's going to be easier without the badges. And then I could put the badges over the freshly buffed paint. So we're going to skip that. Step 50, door weather stripping seated fully, no twists. I think they actually have a good point. Step 52, door panels. Ugh. Nice. Shoot! I forgot to put the window in. So I just put the door panels in and I don't have the windows put in. So I have to take the door panels back off so I could put the windows in because Chat GPT didn't mention it. So I guess add that to the tally of mistakes. And then once we put the windows in, then we can continue. I guess let's pull this door panel off again. So I just rolled the window all the way up so that it's at the highest position, because unlike any other car I've ever worked on, these windows are adjustable. They can move left and right, up and down. So it's not as simple as just putting them in. So what I'm going to be doing is opening and closing the door to make sure that the glass is in the right spot before I tighten it. Honestly, I think it could go a little bit to the right. No! I just put the wrong size bolt into the hole and it just fell in there. Now I can't get it out until I take the door panel off again. Well, it's another cold, gloomy, and I am very thankful to have access to a shop right now. All right, you guys already know the deal. Let's finish these door panels for once and for all, and then let's keep them chugging along. Yes. Okay, we got the bolt out. We should only have to take this thing off one more time. Just one more time. We're going from this old style looking bolt to this. Something a little bit more modern. It's a small detail. No one will ever notice, but I will. Okay, now we just gotta find bolts that fit in here. I think I lost them. After spending about an hour looking for them, I actually found them. So we got everything we need to put these door panels together. Whew. I think that's done. And since we made all the mistakes on the driver's side, the passenger side should go hopefully a little bit quicker. So, oh, I almost just dropped it. Whew, okay, relax. So, oh yeah. So that's step 52 complete. Rear cargo plastics trim installed and secured. I got all of my plastics here, and to be completely honest, I don't remember which order they go. Basically, they kind of clip on top of each other, and if you put the wrong one first, you're going to have to take it back off to put the other one in. So I'm just going to go the way that I think it went. Now I think this part goes in. I need a flashlight. All right, back in we go. Oh my gosh. I think I broke one of the clips, but it's in there, and that's all that matters. So now we could do the passenger side. Time for the hard one. go in here. There you go. Whew. So how exactly does this stuff go? That is a good question. Okay. Hopefully these goes first and I'm not doing this for no reason. Dude, how freaking difficult is it to put this thing in? I think that is the cargo plastics put in. That's step 53 complete. That reminds me, let's go back to step number 3 and let's finish the core support. This right here is a riv nut gun, and these are all the riv nuts. Instead of welding nuts into the core support, which as we found out clearly doesn't work, instead you pressure fit these little, I guess, riv nuts, and they crimp themselves into the holes. So for example, they have threads inside of these riv nuts. You thread it all the way in, and when you compress this, there you go. And now you have a threaded hole inside of a hole that didn't have threads. So I'm going to go around and do that to all of the holes and then bolt stuff together, and the core support should be done. All of the grounds are connected. So headlights, I know these work. So step 56, fog lights working if equipped. I need to install the fog lights. Okay, let's see if the fog lights and the headlights work. No fog lights. I think that's a success. So step 55, headlights do work. Step 56, fog lights working. Step 57, front turn signals and hazards working. I can't do that until the bumper's put on, so we will skip this step. Tail, brake lights, reverse lights, and plate lights working. We've already done this. Windows, door locks, and mirrors are working. We've already tested this. Wiper and washer working. I already know that work. No loose hanging wiring. We've already done this. Okay, step 62, final gap check and basically make sure everything's good. For some reason, why is this light a different color? That's pissing me off. Back to our task at hand of making sure that all the gaps are good and adjust any of them that need adjusting. Looking at the rest of the steps, there's a lot of stuff that still wasn't mentioned by Chat GPT, so mark this as probably the final mistake that Chat GPT made. Long story short, I was not told to do any finish work, stuff like adding these little corner lights and rubber grommets, let alone fully tightening down the quarter panels, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. What I don't blame Chat GPT for not thinking about is the wheels. I'm going to swap the wheels to the good wheels, and I'm also going to lower the car on the lowering bolts, so hopefully it sits a little bit better than this. Once I finish those two things, we're going to move on to the bumper, because I'm actually still waiting for the bumper bracket that should have got at this point almost 2 weeks ago. So I lowered the lowering bolts all the way on this side, and you can see the wheel gap is a bit better now. I might have accidentally did the opposite back here. The car is fully lowered right now, and yeah, I might have went the wrong way. While trying to do the lowering bolts, I just launched a wrench straight into my face. Well, the car has officially been lowered as much as the stock lowering bolts allow, and I'm not going to worry about it again. I'm lucky to still be able to see, so maybe if I did this again, you know. Anyways, and no, I'm not exaggerating. If it hit about a 1/4 inch lower, I would have gotten a 1/2 inch wrench straight into my eyeball and probably would have lost my vision. That's not a joke. But after using what vision I had left to make sure all the gaps were good, I had nothing else better to do but to start working on the front bumper. Lucky for me, as I was working on the front bumper, my final part finally arrived, only 2 weeks late. I guess better late than never, right? We finally got that top bar, so the project can actually be completed now. But the issue is this vent is perfect. that vent is broken and is currently being glued. So as much as I would love to put the bumper on, I can't. So I'm just going to keep on prepping and getting it ready for the bumper, and I guess put it on as soon as I can. So I don't know if you can see that. Step 65 out of 66 says short test drive, listen for rattles and wind noise. And then after that, we're going to recheck any fasteners that might be loose, and then we're done. Of course, we still gotta do the bumper. You know what? I was talking about this.
You're welcome for noticing.
Yeah, but I was talking about this where it randomly stops recording, because it was recording, I promise you that.
You just trying to prove a point at 60 miles per hour. Dude, we're definitely in a ditch after that.
All right, you wanna try it?
Can you tell it's been a while?
No. Here you go.
What was that? Yo, only one of the headlights went down.
Yeah. Why would that happen? What? It must be stuck on something.
See that wire?
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, I think that's just annoying.
Let's see. Yep. So it was just, oh, what is? That one's still acting a little weird.
Your car's trying to flirt with me a little bit.
All right, it is a beautiful day today.
It's a gorgeous day. Check it out.
Yeah,
Blessings are abound.
exactly. And it's the perfect day to put my front bumper on and finish this project once and for all. Real quick before I forget, the C5 Corvette is kind of infamous for having water leaks in the windows, and that's why I was trying to get these windows perfectly seated. It was raining all night yesterday and no water got in on the driver's side. Unfortunately, it's not the same story on the passenger side. We have a water leak here, and you can see it's coming from up here on this door seal. When I let my brother drive this thing, I was sitting and I could hear wind noise over here. So I think we're going to have to adjust this window in the future, but it's not leaking that bad. So I'm hoping to have the first waterproof C5 Corvette ever, because every single person I know that owns one of these has water leaks when it rains. I want to be the first one to not have water leaks, because cars should be able to sit outside when it rains. My vent has been fixed. So that means that we could put the front bumper fully together and start putting it on. And to be frank, this is probably the worst designed front bumper I have ever worked on, without question. They couldn't have added more screws if they tried. There were probably like 500 screws holding this thing on, and everything is sharp and in an awkward spot. So it took me like 2 or 3 hours just to put the front bumper on. To put that into perspective, it probably took me about 10 minutes to put the front bumper on a 2025 Toyota Camry, which also is known for having a bad front bumper design. Anyways, now that the front bumper is fully put on, well, my Corvette Z06 is officially in one piece, red, but not finished. It still needs a little bit of work. I thought this was Cars and Coffee. No one wants to see my one-of-one Corvette. I guess I could tell you how much it cost then. So as I kind of mentioned earlier in the video, I haven't fully calculated how much this has cost because honestly, I don't really want to know. For the sake of pocket watchers and the people that want to know, I guess now is the time to figure it out. And I want to apologize in advance in case I missed some stuff, because after a certain point, I stopped keeping track. So I'm just going to talk about everything I can remember. Keep in mind that there might be some things that I forgot about, so feel free to let me know in the comments if you can think of anything that I forgot. So starting off with the most expensive part, the actual car. Now, I won the auction for, I believe, $7,400, but I did pay for the registration tax and all of that stuff right off the bat. So to pick it up from Copart, I spent $92.50. I spent another $200 on towing, getting the trailer, on gas, food, stuff like that. So now we are at $94.50. So that means just to get this car home wrecked with nothing done to it was $9,500. Now I went on a multi-hour drive to go ahead and get the fenders, the quarter panels, and the hood, and that was $450 without gas. So let's call that $500. Now I don't know if you guys want to count this or not, but I did spend another $500 on a spare set of wheels just to put burnout tires on them. And I spent another $200 on those tires and to mount them. So that was about $700 that I didn't necessarily have to spend, but I chose to so that I could have more fun with the car. I'm going to count it. Now, I spent another $500 on the 2 doors that I bought about 6 hours away that I found out were broken once I arrived. And including all of the trip expenses, it was about $650 total. I spent $530 on an aftermarket front bumper. I don't know why they are so hard to find. I couldn't find any locally or used, so I kind of had to just bite the bullet and pay a premium. And that bumper still sucks in my opinion. It is what it is. This is getting expensive quick. I spent $50 on the tie rods for the rear end that were bent, and I spent another $100 on an alignment. I spent $2,500 on all of the bodywork and paint work, and honestly, that was a really good deal because I painted the entire car. So $2,500. Oh shoot. I spent $40 on hinges. I spent $70 on a radiator support. I spent $1,000 when I broke my camera while welding the car. So once again, you can add that to the total cost if you want. I'm going to add it because it happened only because I was working on this car. I bought a $100 welder and I bought a $200 crash bar. I spent $240 on welding supplies, $20 on weld through primer, another $20 for the side markers that broke. I spent $180 on the mirrors, and I spent $60 on that front bumper bracket that took way longer than it should have to arrive. Now, with everything that I can think of, there might be something I'm missing. I spent $16,410 on this Corvette. How do I cope with this? I spent, to put that into perspective, this car was valued at $30,000 when it was wrecked because it has very low mileage and it's in very good condition, or it was before the accident. With the rebuilt title, I have not seen a single red Z06 of this generation go for over 20 grand. It's typically closer to the $15,000 mark. So that means that I spent basically what this car is worth, and it took me 3 months to do it. I'm really bad at this whole rebuilding and flipping cars thing. Maybe I should get into a different area of work. How do I manage that? On a real note, if we deduct the extra set of wheels and also the camera damages, it actually costed me $14,700 to rebuild this car. But, you know, life is life and it's not always perfect. Now imagine how much more this would have cost if I paid someone to do the bodywork and paint it. It probably would have been closer, if not over $20,000 on this car. And people told me that I got a good deal and that it was an easy fix. I guess moral of the story, maybe we should have just parted this thing out and we would have made more money and it would have been a lot easier. But hey, that's too easy. So with that being said, now that we finished this project, it's time to start a new one. That's right, I bought a Tesla and it's wrecked. Now I don't want to show you too much about this thing, but the next video is going to be all about this car, and I think it's actually going to cost less than the Corvette, which is kind of sad. This is a 2023, this is a 2004, and I made some mistakes. So I guess stay tuned for that video. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos on the Corvette, or if you want to see videos on the Tesla rebuild, feel free to subscribe, and thank you for watching.
Matthew, I want to be like you when I grow up.
Whoa, what are you trying to do? Yeah, no, jump. It's okay. You got it. Boom.